Okay, let's do this. Very good. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're all doing okay. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did. Thank you for asking. So, I'm Pierre, your host. This is the channel where we share everything that goes on in the studio together. So, like usual, we are going to start off by going over to the computer and we're going to check out what we did last Friday to get to where we are today. So, let's do that right now. So basically what we did last Friday was just continuing working on this mandala. So we started in the upper left-hand corner so we wouldn't get our hands in the wet paint and make smudges like I do quite often. And then basically in the second half of the afternoon, we worked on the lower right-hand side, and that's what we did. We basically did an entire afternoon on this time-consuming mandala. So what are we going to do today? Well, we are going to continue and hopefully finish the centerpiece of this mandala. We're going to add little color to our little sperms, and then eventually we're going to put some highlights on the red, and then eventually maybe we'll do our first coat of background of our frame. So let's not waste any time. Let's go back over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is do the little sperms here in yellow. I might have to put two coats. I know for sure that there's going to be light yellow and a darker yellow, like a little bit of shading. So that's going to take a while. And then we are going to put some orange on these little yellow planets that are in the middle, because that also might take two coats, and that also will take some shading. So all that is going to be time consuming because we're going to have to wait for the paint to dry before we can add the second coat. And while we're waiting for that to dry, that's when we'll do some shading on the red circles. So I am going to start off right away by getting some yellow paint. Be using this as a palette, why not? There we go. Nice little paint fart right there. And I'm going to grab a little brush like this one right here. And I am going to get this paint to be the right texture that I enjoy so much, and we're going to do that together. This is really not rocket science. It's basically just water and paint. So I'm just going to work all this together. Let me just grab a little jar of water that I'll put right here. Move this a little closer. Might as well make myself at home. There we go. So this is quite an important stage, even though it's kind of just paint right out of the jar or the tube and just water. I do need to get this to be the texture that almost is like pudding, nice and homogeneous, liquid, but yet want it to be nice and opaque when I lay it down on the canvas. Like right there is getting there, but it's a little thick, so I'm just going to add maybe one more drop of water. And again, rework it. This is not the brush I'm going to be using. It's way too big, but it's the brush that will mix all this paint and get it the right texture quicker. So how does this look? It looks pretty good. I think if I was painting something that had more surface to it than these like I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch, square inch of a surface per sperm. So it's relatively small. So I'm going to zoom in the camera right away. There we go. I'm going to start up on the upper left-hand corner. There we go. First off, I am going to find a smaller brush. So, a smaller brush. I will guess that this one right here will do the trick. Since these sperms are quite small. Just get that wet. Okay, so I'm going to just zoom back in, go back to camera number 1, and we are going to tackle these little spermatozoa right up here. Let's start with this one right here. Now, this is kind of what I thought. This is going to take 2 coats of paint. So, let me get the camera down over here a little bit more. There we go. This is going to take 2 coats because I can see already through it, and I want these little sperms to stand out. I want them to be really vibrant. The color to be nice and vibrant. And even though there is going to be that shading on it, there we go. Okay. Well, that looks nice. Very good. So I'm going to bring the camera down just a little bit, and I'm going to zoom in again just a little bit more so you have a better idea of what I'm doing. Come on now. There we go. Very good. Very nice. I'll pull the camera back for a second. So I am starting on this left-hand side because I don't want to obviously put my hand in the paint and make a mess. So now I'm going to stop the yellow and I'm going to get some orange paint so we can do these tiny little planets as well. So I'm going to come back over here. I am going to get my orange paint right there. Again, this might need 2 coats as well. Who knows? We'll find out in a few seconds. There we go. Let's get that dust out of there. Again, I'm not going to need that much paint because there isn't really that much of a surface. These are, what is that? About maybe 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So, yeah, there isn't that much surface to do. Let's clean off the knife. There we go. And I'm going to use this bigger brush like earlier. And I'm just going to work this yellow paint. I guess we can do like we did earlier as well. Do that together. I'll just switch cameras here to number 1. There we are. And again, it's just water and this orange paint. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's just rinse off this baby here. And I'll pull the camera back up towards our centerpiece. I'll zoom in before I go back to the other camera to rinse off. There we go. Stay like that. Let's get back to here. Rinse off and clean off my paintbrush right away. There we go. Put that aside for later. Again, let's find the right paintbrush. Maybe this guy right here. We can try this, and if it doesn't work, well, we'll just switch. So I'm going to just zoom in one more time a little bit with this camera before switching over. Let's get the brush wet a little bit. Okay. Let's go back to number 1. And then let's put the first coat of these little moons, little planets, little bubbles. There we go. And with a little luck, maybe we won't need a second coat. Usually we do, though. So there we go. And these, we definitely want these planets to stick out, you know, from standing back several feet. So we do want them to be nice and vibrant. These colors have to pop out. They are kind of like the main key part to these paintings, to the mandalas. So we are going to do that. Hey, Javi, ça va? Yes, man. So, okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to go back to the yellow paint so we can continue on our sperms. So I'm going to just pull the camera back just a little bit like that. There we go. And I'm going to just switch palettes and paintbrush. And we're going to continue. There we go. Oops. Okay, so where's the camera at here? I'm losing things. I guess we're on the bottom here. We can go zoom in on the bottom as we tackle these lower sperms right here. Very good. Very cool, very good. Maybe go back up here a little bit. I have to keep shuffling up and down, left and right. Again, as I mentioned earlier, just so I don't end up painting myself in a corner where I'll eventually just make smudges and get paint, make a mess, let's put it that way. So the best way to avoid doing that is for me to, as I mentioned, work from the upper left-hand corner down to the lower right-hand corner. There we go. Again, very quickly, I'm going to switch over to the orange paint. There we go. Get these little planets together. Very good. Just a few more to go. There we go. I think I can safely do the rest of these planets. There, very good. Okay. So I am just going to rinse off the brush for a second, grab the yellow paint, and we can go back to our sperms. Where am I? Right about here, maybe. Okay, this is my top sperm. Very good. All right. Looking good. Just have 4 more to go on the bottom. 2 a little bit further up, which I'm going to do right now, even though it's off camera. But I'll just take a second. There we go. Now I can tackle the last 4, which is on camera. So there we go. Now hopefully all this will have time to dry so that we can continue to paint. I have all weekend to rest, so I am ready to go. To have a nice full day. So, very good. Let me pull the camera back so we have a little general view of what we've done so far. And it looks quite nice. Hopefully on the camera it looks as good as it does in real life. And I know it's going to look even better when the shading of the little planets and the shading of the sperms are on. Then it's going to look even nicer. Plus I think I'm going to add a little bit of gold in between the sperms. But I'll make that decision later. Okay, so let me just step back for a second here. See a little bit what's going on. Okay, very good. So I'm going to do the shading of the red circles. And hopefully that will give time for what we did to dry a little bit. I do have a fan back there that's blowing chilly, cold air, which I was begging for just 2 weeks ago. And we've had like several days of rain here in southern France, and the temperatures have dropped quite a bit. And since this building that I'm in was built in the 17th century, it gets damp very quickly. There is no heating in our building. So what am I doing here besides just rambling on? I guess I am, I don't know, procrastinating. So let's get some red paint. Here's some right here. I'll put these palettes aside because we might have to put a second coat later. And I'll put the red paint in here. We're not going to need that much. The shading is going to be very discreet, hopefully. I've often said this, but on camera, when you have a big contrast of colors, it looks great. But in reality, you don't want that much of a contrast. You want everything to be subtle. I remember, and I'll zoom in here with camera number 1. Just go over here for a second. And when we started this painting, I had mentioned when we were just working on the blue background, I had mentioned when I put the lighter blue and the darker shading of blue, I had said this was very subtle and it will blend in. And when we put all the details on top, we won't see it anymore. And now I think you realize basically what I said. The background is very subtle, doesn't stick out as much. There's not that much contrast, but in real life, it looks beautiful. It just blends in beautiful. And I think after I did the background one morning when I showed up, before we added the gold and the green bubbles and planets and the splattering, and it was just a blue background. I was taken aback by how beautiful this cerulean blue had came out. So very happy with that. Anyways, so, and it's important, if you're happy with the background, the rest of the painting goes well. But if you start off with the color that doesn't please you, well, I don't see how at the end product pleases you. And sometimes that's the way it goes because you have to experiment. You just can't go with sure values all the time. Sometimes you have to try something new, and it can backfire on you. As it happened with our previous painting, on the frame that we did on the previous painting, we had tried, or at least I tried, something new, different kind of a shading. I think it was the last painting, or the previous one. Anyways, it just didn't work. I tried several things in the afternoon, and in fact, we screwed up, and the whole afternoon was wasted. And I ended up by painting over the whole thing because everything I tried, my ideas just didn't work out. I mean, it just wasn't pleasing. So, and I know that's a personal point of view because I remember like in the days where I used to paint on paper and glue in the streets, street art. I used to make posters and I used to whip those out like it was quantity that was important and not quality. I did that in the 1990s through like 5-6 years in a row where all I did was work with my friends and myself. We just painted on paper and we glued these paintings in the streets and in Paris, Amsterdam, Berlin, New York, all over. I did that for several years. And I remember this one series of paintings which were hearts with a few jungle leaves and plants, 4 different colors. And 3 of the colors, purple, red, yellow, and I forget what the other one was. 3 of them I thought were gorgeous. I mean, just perfect. And then the fourth one I didn't like at all. And out of the four, the one I sold was the one I didn't like. So I understood right then and there you need something for everybody. Everybody has a different taste, and that's fine. That's the way it goes. But it was really anyways, it did crack me up, I must say. Okay, so let's just get a little bit of black paint there in the corner. Watch out not to get my hair in it as well, which I do also quite often. Especially I just washed it today, so there's no control over it. And let's clean off my knife. Take good care of my tools. And that's why I've had them like this knife. I must have had it for, I don't know, I'd say more than 20 years. Whatever. Okay, so now I have to find the right paintbrush, and I have a pretty good idea which one I'm going to use. The ones I usually use, wait a minute. Okay, I shouldn't be wasting too much time on this. But having the right paintbrush is also important. It's like having the right texture of the paint is also very important, even though this is going to go very quickly. And I don't have to lose any sleep over it. But anyways. So, like usual, we're going to do this together. I'm going to switch over to camera number 1. There we go. And I'm going to bring number 1 down so we can do this together. So there's our red paint or black paint, and just going to grab a little bit right there. Yeah, this darkens up very quickly. And like I said, we do want this to be kind of subtle. And we're not going to need that much, so I'll just work things down to this area right here. So that's already darker. And the more I work it, the darker it gets. And as it dries, it even gets darker. So I think I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to go with what I have here, which should be sufficient. So I'm going to bring the camera back up. There we go. And I'm going to zoom in that upper left-hand corner, which is where we're going to work first. Maybe zoom in just a whisker more, like that. There we go. So let me just try a little bit right here. Well, that is going to dry quite a bit darker, but okay. I'm just going to go like that. Not really painting, just tapping. There we go. Okay, oh, it's okay. Let me just step back for a second, take a look. All right, very good. Guess I'm just going to move over to the next one, right over here. Since the camera is on an angle, it does give an optical illusion of being not quite being a perfect circle, more of an oval, egg-shaped. There we go. Very good, very good. Shall we go down a little bit? There we go. That looks cool too. All this blend in. There we go. And let's get our last but not least of our 4 circles. There we go. Just want to make some little shades, give it some richness, a little bit of richness to our background. There we go. There. So that looks pretty good. Let's pull the camera back. And of course, you have the reflection of the sunlight, which makes the paint a little shiny right now, but it should darken up in a few minutes as it evaporates. So I'm just going to step back for a second, take a look. Now, right away, the red is richer. Adding the shading just changes everything, of course. And then there will be, I assume, I'm thinking, four sperms, big sperms, going out from inside to the outer edge, yellow. That is at least what I see right now. So, where are we at here? Let me just come back to this area. So our sperms and our little planets are basically dry. That fan did help. I can see all this is dry. Okay, it should be cool though, not exaggerate, but no, it looks dry. So, but I can see the green, even though there's white paint and yellow, I can see some of the green still showing through my yellow, which means that I am going to put a second coat of yellow before I do my darker yellow shadowing. I kind of knew I was going to have to do that, so I might as well do that right now. The paint's here, the brush is right here as well. There we go. So I'll start with that, and we'll do like before. I'll do most of the upper left-hand side. I'll stop. I'll put the second coat of the orange as we work our way to the lower right-hand corner. Okay, so now this paint is still good to go. Okay, so I'm going to get camera number 1 and zoom that in. Of course, since this is the second coat, you're not going to see much on the camera. Not going to see that much of a difference. But anyways, so let's go. Let's get this done. Well, I don't see that much difference with the second coat of yellow, I must say. I'm a little disappointed. I'm disappointed that it doesn't cover better enough. But I'm going to stop now. Might as well continue. Okay, and just get a couple more up here. And right there. And I see that I'm already making smudges because some of this paint wasn't completely dry. So a little bit of saliva, and we just rub and it comes off. Very good. Okay. And it goes to show that I did put it on fairly thickly, and then it wasn't quite dry. Okay, let's leave that. I'll just very quickly switch brushes, get back to the orange. And the orange looks so much better with that second coat, making that paint stand right out. Nice electric orange. Love it. Okay, very good. I think I can go all the way around. Okay. Okay, there we go. Second coat of orange is done. All I'll have to do is just do the little highlight in red. Very good. Okay. So let me just pull this baby back a few seconds. There we go. That looks good. I'm going to go back and finish the second coat of yellow paint on these lower sperms. I guess I could zoom in a little bit on that. Maybe. Oops. There we go. Again, I don't think you'll see much difference on the camera. And I don't see that much difference right here as I'm doing it, so. But since I know paint, as it dries, gets darker, hopefully as this yellow paint dries, Jesus Christ, I'm putting my hand right in the red, which I just did a few seconds ago. Didn't give it time to dry either. Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted to avoid. So I'll work around it like there. Totally forgot about that. Okay, very good. Very good. I'll pull this back a little bit more, or maybe pull it all the way back. Why not? Move the camera back so we can see what's going on in the studio as well. Okay, so now where are we at? Let me just get my little brushes nice and clean. Very good, there's one of them. I will clean these brushes off with soap a little later. There we go. Okay, so where are we at? Let me step back here for a second and take a look. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're just about finished this. All we have to do is do the highlights of the sperm in a darker yellow, ochre, and then some red for the planets as well. And so I think maybe we could put our first coat of paint on the border. Let's get that done because that also is going to need two coats and it's going to need some shading. So we can get that done and probably do the second coat tomorrow. I am just going to add a few staples to hold the canvas. There we go. Maybe just a little bit here. Okay, very good. So that will definitely need two coats. I know this as well. Let me get this out of the way. Get the green paint out. Very good. And I'm going to need a larger type of palette for that. Maybe something like this. Why not? Why not? Why not? So, for that I'm going to use a wider brush, of course, and I'm going to use a wider, softer brush. I have wide brushes, but they are kind of firm. I want a very soft one so that it leaves the least amount of brush strokes on the canvas. So that's what I'm going to do. There we go. So I'm going to put that to soak, and then I'm just going to get the paint and put it in here. I'll make a nice palette. There we go. Get this out of the way. I'm going to clean off my knife right away. I don't. Very good. Get this baby out of the way. I'm going to go over here and get a sip of water as well. There we go. That tastes good. And I guess I will go over to camera number 1 and we can do this mixing together. Again, you don't have to be a genius to do this, really. All you need is just about a little water, and since I'm not mixing this, I'm using the paint straight out of the can, I don't really have to worry about mixing the colors together or anything like that. What I do want to do is just get this to be the right texture. And I want this to be fairly liquidish, but yet I don't want it to drip, of course, on the painting. So just get that right texture. And as we go along, we will add water as the water that we're mixing now evaporates. So I can see there's a lot of water on my brush as well. Get rid of the excess. There we go. Well, this looks pretty good to start off with. Okay, so I'm going to bring the camera then back up here. I'm going to plug my camera in. So it has a little power. There we go. And I'm going to start in that upper left-hand corner like I usually do and work my way along the top. There we go. And I'm actually going to move the camera over like that. I am sure that I will not be in front of it. There we go. Okay, so let's start off this section right here. This will definitely need 2 coats, so I don't have to worry too much about it. What I do want to worry about, though, is not, and even though I know there will be like a black edge on both sides, I still want to be kind of precise and not over not bleed over on the blue too much. There we go. I'm going to do the same up here. There we go. So let's come back here. Fill all this in now. Very good. And you know what? I'm going to put a little bit of music. My friend Jacek, and let's go with some a little bit of music. That will always be nicer. All right. So we have our friend Jacek on the guitar. We have Diego on the violin and Lucien on the drum. can see the brush strokes, but that's why we'll put a second coat to get rid of those. Initially, this frame was supposed to be black. That's what I intended at first, and then came in and it's all green. I mean, I changed the whole thing. That's the way it goes. Very good. So I'm also out of paint. go. Okay, getting right to the end here. Very cool. I'm not even going to move my chair. We'll get rid of all the brush strokes when we put on that second coat. They'll all disappear, and they'll look just great no matter what. So that's pretty cool. So let me just step back for a second here and take a look. All right. Of course, the green frame will be darker when it's done because I am going to put some shadowing before we put on all the details, and it will make the frame a lot richer. So very good, very good. So moving right along, I am going to get the dark yellow for our shadowing of sperms. I'm going to get the red paint as well ready so we can just ping pong back and forth between both colors. So what do I need here? I need my beige. Here we go. What's it called here? Ocre jaune in French and yellow ochre in English. Yeah, I guess I could have guessed it. So let's get the yellow ochre together. Not going to need that much, obviously, because it's going to be just like almost a hairline around that, even though I am going to have to work that paint to get that right texture as I usually do. And then what did we say? We said the red. Red for the dread. Okay? And that also, we're not going to need that much, and I probably can just use the cap right here for that. So I'll get the red ready since I have a brush right here full of red paint. Again, I want this now this is important because I need that texture to be just right so it goes down on one shot, that it covers the surface, that it's opaque, because I'm not going to put 2 coats of this. So I have to make sure that this blend is going to be just right. And it seems to be right there, perfect. Because by the time I get to it, it will have evaporated just a little bit to leave me with the perfect texture. And now I have to do the same with the ochre. And for that, I'm going to take the paintbrush I had earlier, wherever that is. Did I put it away here somewhere? I guess it doesn't matter. I'm just going to take another one. We don't want to waste any time. So, again, just going to work this little bit of yellow ochre. Again, I want to get this to be the right creamy texture because I want this to go down as though I was using ink. And yet I want it to be nice and opaque, and I'm not going to put 2 coats of this. So if I get it to be the right texture, I won't have to worry about anything except not shaking. Okay, I think I needed just one more drop of water to get this to be. I want to have full control of this paint when I put it down. So, okay, that looks just right. Let's do a little rinsing here. Grab our little thin paintbrush. And I'm going to take the thinner one, even though they're both extremely thin. Just going to step back and take a look for a second. How are we doing on the cameras here? Okay. So, I'm going to zoom in on this upper left-hand corner here again of our sperms. And like before, I'm going to ping-pong back and forth between the sperms and our planets. So, where am I here? Okay, and yes, on the camera, it's the other way around. Okay, so let's do it like this. Sorry, folks, this just takes a few seconds for me to get it together. Okay, there we go. Now I can switch cameras, and we can tackle these spermatozoa. I'll put the music back on as well. Though it's very discreet, it sure makes a big difference. Just makes these sperms beautiful. Very nice, very nice. Okay, very good. I think now I'm going to switch over and do the planets. Very discreet, but just adds so much to the painting. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I'll just zoom it back a little bit. And now I'll tackle the rest of the sperms on that lower right-hand corner. And we'll be done for the day. Okay, I'm going to see if I can zoom in the camera for the last few sperms. I know my camera tends to kind of go out of focus when I do that. I'm always nervous, but let's try it. So where do I want to go? I want to go right about here. You see what I mean? It won't let me focus in that much. just have one more to do. One last little sperm right here. Very good, very good. And since we are done here basically with this mandala, I am going to just cover up this inner green here. There we go. And when that's dry tomorrow, we'll just add a little gold on top of that. There we go. So, this does conclude today's painting. I'll just move this baby out of the way. Right? I'll zoom back one more time. Let's take a little look at it from camera number 1. So that's what we did today. So, moving right along. And I guess tomorrow we will tackle the frame. I guess the shadowing of the frame, so that has time to dry, and then maybe we'll finish the inside of the mandala area. Why not? Okay. Well, anyways, we'll figure it out tomorrow. So tomorrow is Tuesday. So I do start an hour a day late. Yes, sure. I do start an hour later. So instead of 9 a.m., I'll be starting at 10. Yeah, repeat this. Whew. Okay, I'll be starting at 10 a.m. I'm going to leave you with my schedule anyways, like that. At least you'll know, no matter how I screw up, at least visually you'll be able to see my schedule. So tomorrow I'll start at 10 a.m. and we'll continue this painting. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. And until tomorrow, I'll say, ciao mes amis.